guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so obviously as you can see I have my eyes and my brows just done. This is mainly going to be about my base routine, so that is what I really want to focus on. I am going to zoom you in. Sorry if you don't want to see that. If I'm looking over this way, it's because I have a mirror here. So we're going to start off with primer. The primer that I've been using in winter has been the Refi face primer. This is the Glow and Sculpt one. I have been mainly using this for the hydration of it. I think it is such a nice hydrating primer, and when you let it sink in a good bit, it does actually have a bit of tack to it, which is really nice. So we're gonna go in with this first. I just rub it in all over my skin. Now obviously my eyes are not my usual winter makeup routine, and that is just because I'm about to film some Christmas videos, so I want to have a bit of sparkle. But usually my normal eye is like the same as it always is, which is just bronzer in the crease, a little matte white eyeshadow or cream eyeshadow, and then a brown wing liner with some brown eyeshadow. That is literally all that I do when it comes to my eyes. So I'm gonna leave that for a minute and talk about foundation. So if I want more of a lighter coverage, I go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. This is in the shade 5. Or if I want something a bit more full coverage, I'll go in with my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade Punjab. Because I am on camera today, I'm gonna go in with my NARS one, although I do love my Charlotte Tilbury. That's kind of the one I use for when I'm in work. So I'm just gonna pump it onto the back of my hand. Gonna do 2 pumps. I haven't done a makeup tutorial in so long, guys. I'm so sorry. And I'm just gonna spread this all over my face. I've got it all dispersed onto my face. That is the postman. Guys, this is my bestie's Christmas presents arriving. My postman. He is the soundest man ever. He just knows that I'm up to God knows what. So I'm gonna go in with quite a dense brush. This is actually a Morphe Extract and Hill collab. I'm out of breath. She doesn't make it anymore, or they don't make it anymore, but you're gonna want a dense brush to ensure that the coverage stays. I personally find that beauty blenders, when you first apply your makeup, it ends up soaking it all in. So I like to go in with a brush first, and then if I find it's a bit patchy or streaky, then I will go in with a beauty blender. Okay, now that my foundation is on, I'm gonna go in with my spot concealer and just let it sit while I'm doing my cream bronzer and everything like that. I'm gonna go in with the NARS pot concealer in the shade, is this vanilla? Yeah, vanilla 2. This is gonna look a lot lighter than my actual foundation, but I only have the one spot concealer for when I'm tan and when I'm fair, so I kind of go in between, and I'm just gonna let that sit there for the minute. Okay, for cream bronzer, I've been loving the Rare Beauty cream bronzer. Mine is in the shade Happy Soul. I've been really enjoying this. I either like to take it on my palm and then put my brush onto my palm and then blend it. I don't tend to love to draw it on my skin just because I find it's kind of hard to blend, but what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna take it on a brush straight from the stick. I'm going to take it on a brush straight from the stick, and then we're going to blend it. I'm just going to use an angled Beauty Bay brush. I cannot speak today. We're just going to literally whack it all on, as you can see, and start blending it out. I just find if you put it straight on your skin, it's kind of a little bit drying, which I'm kind of shocked about considering how easy their blushes are to blend, but sticks are always different to cream though. So I've just taken it on the brush. I'm putting it all on the high points of my face, on my cheeks, my forehead, a little bit on my nose. And guys, I've actually stopped putting it underneath my chin. For a while I was like putting it underneath my chin, but I found that like I just thought I looked like I had like not blended my foundation down my neck. So I've stopped doing that, and I've just kept it like to the upper half of my face, and I'm just really making sure that's blended. Again, if you feel like you've put too much on, just grab a beauty blender and go over it. It won't lift your foundation. See the way that blends in? So nice and even. I love it. Now I'm just taking an angled brush for my nose, and I'm just going to run this down the sides really lightly and kind of like twirl it to blend it out a bit, because we're going to be putting on concealer anyways on my under eye, so I'm not too worried if it looks a bit messy. This is just to really make sure that my nose is looking bronze, and I like to put a load on the tip For concealer, I like to either use one of these two concealers. First we have the Lancome Tanti Doll Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. Mine is in the shade 110 or 10. And then I also have the Kylie Cosmetics Longwear Plush Concealer. This is in the shade 3N. Because we're keeping it full coverage, like I said, I have two bright lights on me and I'm filming today, I'm going to go with this one. But if I was to wear the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, I'd probably go in with this one, just so we kind of keep the same consistency, kind of same coverage throughout. So I'm just going to place this underneath my eyes. This is such a nice full coverage concealer on my chin because it'll balance out this lightness on my forehead, and then a little bit underneath my cheekbones. I really like the consistency of this because it's super thin, but it actually has such good coverage, which I love. Now this is where I'm going to go with my beauty blender. I'm going to come back and I'm going to start blending out this concealer, but I'm going to let it sit for a minute. Okay, just come back in and starting to tap everything out. Now that NARS concealer has been sat for a little bit, it's going to stick to my spots and just make sure that they're fully covered color wise. Obviously guys, please remember you cannot change. Here, I feel like I need to raise you a little bit. I feel like you're still too short. I feel like that's better. Yeah, so there's always going to be texture on your skin. You cannot change texture. Texture is something that is inevitable. Obviously lights and cameras make people look like they have little to no texture. Then obviously you've got like face retouch, and you also have like Photoshop and photos and stuff like that. But guys, please know, texture is normal. Your skin is never going to look like these influencers or these people that have these filters on or everything like that. So just please be aware that like your skin is not going to look like theirs in person, because they don't look like that in person. Just blend out my under eye. And now if you are doing eyeshadow first, just be super careful around your under eye. I like to go really lightly. Also as well, a good tip is I like to do my bronzer first, because it means then if I fuck up in any way with the darker shades, it means I can then cover it up with my concealer and no one's gonna know. So if I go too low, concealer. If I go too high, concealer. And I've just gone back in with my bronzer brush just to kind of reinforce a little bit of colour back into my skin, just because I did go a little bit too heavy handed with the concealer. And see the way it just kind of fuses it back in. For cream blush, I either go between these two. The first one is the Saie Dew Blush in the shade Rosy. I really like this one. I think it's such a nice blush. Or I really like my Patrick Ta For Face Not Too Much Cream Blush. It's this one right here. I really like these duos. These are handy for traveling. I think today though I'm going to do the Saie Dewy Blush. You literally only need like that amount. I might do a little bit more because I'm on camera today, but like you don't need that much whatsoever, so it means it's gonna last a very long time. I'm just gonna take it on a brush. I like to use a brush for blushes, especially cream blush, just because I feel like it keeps the coverage of blushes. I feel like a lot of blushes these days are either too pigmented or they're not pigmented enough, whereas I find these Saie ones, I personally like them better than the Rare Beauty ones, if I'm being completely honest. I just find with the Rare Beauty ones, everyone loves them because they're so pigmented, which is absolutely great, and like that's great if you're just an everyday consumer where you just want one blush and it's going to last you a long time and you're getting your bang for your buck. It is great money in that way, do not get me wrong. However, for me, for someone who likes to collect makeup and try new things, I don't want a Rare Beauty blush where I'm only using the smallest amount and I'm never going to get through it, because for me it's now a waste. But for the everyday person, it's a great way of, you know, utilizing your money and getting your money's worth of stuff. But I find the same ones to just be a little bit better in terms of like you can still apply enough that it's not going to go overboard, and you're not going to have the fear of the Rare Beauty one, if that makes sense. So I just want to show you, this is what it looks like. It's absolutely stunning, and the glow that it gives is absolutely beautiful. Okay, we're gonna now go in with powder. This is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Pound Cake powder. I know they've changed the packaging on this, so if you are purchasing it, it does have new packaging now, but it is the same product. I like to take mine on a little powder puff, just because I find powder puffs really help make sure that your makeup is pressed into your skin and that it is really making sure that everything is covered, because a lot of the time when you use a brush, powder kind of flicks everywhere because it's not pressed into your brush. But then with a beauty blender, obviously your beauty blender is wet, so sometimes it can make your makeup go a bit funny. So I've been loving just the powder puff. These are just the Trigwell powder puffs. Honestly guys, a powder puff is a powder puff. in my opinion. I think it's unlike brushes where I feel like you do need to invest in brushes, especially good brushes, but when it comes to a puff, I genuinely think a puff is a puff, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm just pressing that into my under eye. As you can see, blurs it, makes it look so smooth. So what I do is I take the powder and I press it into my palm, and then I press it into the areas that I want it, which for me is all over my face, just avoiding like my cheek area, because I want to keep the glow there. And I'm going to be putting on my powder bronzer and powder blush anyways, so that's going to set it down. And I like to leave a little bit of a line underneath my bronzer, just kind of make it a bit more sharp. It just really blurs your skin, this powder, and I absolutely love it. And if you have not tried it yet, I definitely think it is worth the investment. Like, I use this pretty much nearly every single day, and I still have loads left, and I got it like last year, or like the early start of this year. Now on to powder bronzer. I'm going to be using my OG MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark. This bronzer is my go-to. I literally have a shade for when I'm tanned, a shade for when I'm pale, and then one other shimmery bronzer in my collection, because I just have never found anything that is better than this. Like, you cannot convince me that there's a better bronzer out there. I don't mind trying new cream bronzers, I don't mind trying like new like liquid bronzers, but when it comes to my powder bronzer, I literally never steer away from this. I used to be a Give Me Sun lover, but when it comes to like my tan shade, as you can see, I'm more olive toned once I have a tan on. I'm not more orangey, so that's why I go for this over Give Me Sun, because even though this looks orange, when you put Give Me Sun next to this, Give Me Sun is orange. I know Nicole prefers Give Me Sun, but for me, I am a dark girly through and through. Back to the nose contour, I'm just taking this and reinforcing those lines that we had while also blending it. This is a Zoella. Jesus, this is a Zoeva brush, and I absolutely love it. It's like the perfect nose contour shape. Then for blush, either if I was using the Patrick Ta cream, I would go in with the Patrick Ta powder, but because I use the Saie blush, I'm going to go in with the MAC Mineralized Blush in the shade Warm Soul. This is a stunning pink reflective kind of like gold shimmer, and I'm just going to take it on quite a fluffy brush, and I'm going to load up my cheek with it. It's just going to really complement the Saie blush that we have underneath, and it's going to also keep the glow that we have. I absolutely love this. It just looks stunning. Let's put a little bit on my nose, like that. And then finally, I'm just gonna set my face using the Urban Decay All Nighter Extra Glow Setting Spray. I love this in winter because it ensures that if there are any dry patches, which I do tend to get sometimes in winter, that this is gonna just make sure my skin is radiant and that you don't notice the dry patches as much. So, oh, I almost forgot. I need to clear off this bag. Top tip as well, try not talk while your setting spray is drying down. So basically, do as I say, not as I do, because it means that any lines that you then create while it's drying, it's going to set your makeup into them lines. So just a top tip from me. Right, I'm going to finish off my eyes, finish off my lips, and then I'll be back to show you the finished look. So guys, this is the finished makeup look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know in the comments, and please let me know if you want to see any more makeup videos. I can definitely do some more. But guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!